Let me tell you of the days of high adventure.
Hello, I'm Eric.
And I'm Kevin.
And this is 6 Degrees of Schwarzenegger, the podcast where we take a long, hard look at some of our favorite action movies from the era of Arnold.
Schwarzenegger is the icon of the genre, and we're taking a deep dive into some of these 80s and 90s cult action movies and breaking them all the way down.
All the way down. Wow, we're a week late, man. We took 1 week off.
We're late. We're coming to you from snowy Atlanta.
That's right. Finally melting a little bit, but we're moving forward.
We're here with a brand new series on a movie that was sort of foreign to me. It was an Eric suggestion, so if you hate it, you can only blame Eric.
That's fine. I'm happy to take all of the blame.
Well, tell us what it is.
Well, we're doing Hard to Kill now. Steven Seagal's classic bad action movie.
I really only grew up watching Under Siege, so I'm not familiar with the other Seagal movies.
His full canon,
yes.
if you will.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a pure Steven Seagal movie. This was at the height of his powers.
Yeah.
And it is Seagal doing what Seagal does best, whispering his way through every scene and somehow defeating bad guys, even though all he does is seemingly push them into objects.
Yeah. It was a movie from 1990, so like right in the heart of the action movie boom.
Yes.
Like the golden era of action movies.
It was like when Netflix was just buying every movie possible, right?
Uh-huh.
Like it was just like you couldn't do wrong with an action movie.
Of course.
And you sort of Die Hard in '88 ushered that in, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Any movie that was like, I think Die Hard had to have like made it where the R-rated action movie like
puts
is
butts in
the
seats.
thing.
Yeah.
Because right around the same time, Van Damme's career was exploding.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was like you had Stallone and you had Schwarzenegger and Bruce Willis, and then you needed that second tier. Of guys.
Yeah, the B-list guys.
The B-list guys,
Yeah.
and Seagal was like on that like secondary Mount Rushmore.
Although he thought he was on the A-list.
Yeah,
but I don't think he ever got the
for
memo.
like a brief, for like probably 6 months.
Yeah, for 6 months.
He was probably on the A-list.
Well, Hard to Kill is one of 3 movies he did in a single year.
He was cranking them out, man.
Which is just unbelievable.
And they all had the same, I'd have to look it up, but they all had the same ass title, basically.
Yeah.
It was Above the Law and Hard to Kill. I'm going to look up this motherfucker while you fill a little bit of time here.
Okay, yeah. So Seagal is, I mean, for anybody, how can you not know who Seagal is, right? But he was a very brief kind of action star in the 80s. He did a bunch of really, really cheesy action movies that even in 1990, so I was 9 years old, I thought they were hysterically bad. Right?
Oh,
like,
even as a child?
Even as a child, you watch
knew?
these movies and you're like, this is sort of like when your mom comes home with what are those Hedrox cookies instead
the
of
fake Oreos.
the fake Oreos instead of the real Oreos. Like even then, he was like a fake Oreo.
You knew this was inferior.
Oh yeah, but without a doubt. I mean, my first R-rated movie, I saw Die Hard in theaters in '88.
Dude.
Right,
so you were spoiled.
I was spoiled. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I remember like covering my eyes but peeking through them, watching RoboCop. You know. I was never like denied R-rated movies.
So Seagal burst on the scene in '88, and within like a 2-year span, he did movies called Above the Law, Hard to Kill, Marked for Death, and Out for Justice.
Oh, wow.
And you will never convince me those are different movies than
No.
Like that's just the same movie over and over again.
Over and over again. Right.
And the character names were nuts. He was Nico Toscani, Mason Storm.
Of course, which is what we're about to go into.
In Marked for Death, apparently he was just Hatcher.
Oh, okay.
And then he played one called Gino Felino. And it's like, I don't know, man.
It's amazing.
But
it's amazing.
it's an artifact of its time, certainly.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. Whereas usually when we watch these movies, there's a lot of like personal love for them. I got to be honest, this one is just straight up comedy for me. I'm going to tear into this one with reckless abandon.
And Seagal deserves all of the abuse that's going to be coming his way.
From what I understand, he's a terrible human being. So I have no guilt about tearing into this one.
So this movie was directed by a guy named Bruce Malmuth, who the only other movie I saw that I recognized that he had directed was a movie called Nighthawks.
Yeah, I remember that one with
Stallone and Billy D. Williams, Rutger Hauer. It was like a pretty solid little detective thriller movie. It came out like between Rambo and Rocky movies in the early Stallone era. But I was blown away to see that this guy Malmuth also played the ring announcer in The Karate Kid.
Oh,
like
really?
that Daniel Russo's going to fight? Like that guy.
Holy
Daniel Russo's going to fight.
Damn.
How you are directing movies and playing that little role, I don't know.
I wonder if he was friends with the director and the director of Karate Kid was like, hey, bro, do you have like a weekend?
You want to come out?
You want to come out? Yeah, it's got to be something like that.
It's crazy, man. Written by a dude named Stephen McKay, who I didn't really recognize anything else dude ever written.
No, same.
There was like a producing trio of Gary Adelson, Joel Simon, and Bill Todman Jr.
I looked this up. I don't recognize anything that Gary Adelson has done. It's mostly TV stuff. But Joel Simon and Bill Todman both co-produced X-Men. Which but that's their biggest
like the
claim
Bryan
to fame.
Singer, like the
Bryan Singer X-Men movie.
Okay,
yeah, and
solid flick though.
Yeah, it was a good flick. And then the only other one that I recognize from them is Married to the Mob, which is a very different movie.
It's like a comedy, right?
It is. It's a straight up comedy.
Not to be confused with Oscar.
No. Very different movie. Very different movie.
Okay,
but yeah, I mean. Their credits on IMDb stop at 2013, so they have not done anything in a decade, as far as I'm aware. But
I wonder how much money you make from producing like some moderate hits.
I don't know.
Enough
to
to
live
just
on the
retire and
residual.
be comfortable forever.
Yeah, maybe. I know Adelson is still working though. The TV guy. He does almost exclusively TV movies. But I mean, look,
that
work
pays
is
the
work.
bills. Yeah,
right. Exactly. I mean, shit. Why not?
So we got music by a guy named David Michael Frank, who this probably is one of the worst scores I've ever seen in one of the movies we've done. But he did the music for Showdown in Little Tokyo, which I've told you about before. The Dolph Lundgren and Brandon Lee movie.
Yep. I have not seen it.
He did Above the Law and Out for Justice, so he must have been like tight with Seagal.
Okay, that makes sense.
Or something, and Seagal kept throwing him work, whatever.
Right. He must have really liked him, right?
And then cinematography was by our old friend Matthew F. Leonetti,
who is a familiar name on this podcast.
He done Action Jackson and Red Heat. Among a million other movies. Angels in the Outfield, maybe just weird movies too. But yeah, he keeps coming up again and again lately on our podcast. Starring Steven Seagal as Mason Storm.
What a name.
No one's ever had that name before.
No one has ever had that name.
Yeah, it's a good action hero name, though. Yeah. It's like McBain or something, It's like, But you know Seagal's resume. We just talked about it a little bit. I would argue Under Siege, I think, is the only good movie he's ever made.
Agreed,
or at least that he's only starred in.
Yeah.
Executive Decision, I feel like was
decent. It was a good movie,
but
thank God they killed him off in the
first
minutes.
They had the good sense to kill him right away, Kelly LeBrock played the character Andy, the nurse. I only really know her from Weird Science.
Yeah, that's the only.
In this, and
Weird Science in this is the only two things I know her from.
She was real life married to Steven Seagal somehow. Yeah. It's gross.
According to trivia, she was basically retired.
Yeah,
and just did this movie as a favor to Seagal.
For him,
yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
weird. And she should have stayed retired. This was not good.
This was not a good movie. No.
Now, these are the two bright spots to the movie for me. William Sadler playing Senator Trent.
Yes. And amazingly, I mean, like just the best version of Death and Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey.
Yeah, he played Death and Bill and
Ted Face the Music. Yeah,
he was the main bad guy, Colonel Stewart in Die Hard 2. Same year.
Yeah, it was the same year.
Which is hard to imagine because that's such a polished movie.
I know.
And he's so good in that, and then he's so different in this.
Well, Sadler is another one of these working actors who just it's like, all right, well, this is a paycheck, then I'm going to do it. Yeah.
And then you would also recognize him from Shawshank Redemption. He was like Red's buddy in jail or whatever.
Yep.
So.
Yep.
But yeah, awesome working actor. This was definitely the peak of his stardom.
I agree.
Was like this little early 90s era, but dude still works, I think.
Yeah, Sadler's still doing stuff.
And then Frederick Coffin playing the character of O'Malley.
Which...
He was the cop in Wayne's World.
And that's the only other thing that we recognize.
Yeah, that was it. He was like the guy we searched. What did he say? We like did all the body cavity searches. Yeah, I searched 5 individuals myself, inside and out. So weird.
Oh, God.
But this guy just looks like a cop.
Oh, he does, like straight up. But anyway, you ready to get into this movie?
Man, I'm ready. Let's jam.
All right. Well, we open with the Warner Brothers animation right away, and.
It's hard to believe this was a Warner Brothers movie.
It is. It blows my mind a little bit.
This feels like it should have been Canon Films or Carolco or one of the other like little lower level action like mid-major studios.
I agree. But somehow Warner Brothers picked it up. I mean, look, even a broken clock is right twice a day. So. But as the credits play, we see this rain-soaked alley, which we'll see briefly. It doesn't make any sense that this alley would be rain-soaked.
Yeah, it's Los Angeles
in April.
It's the quintessential like shady alley though, just like smoke is billowing from unseen sources or steam.
There has never been an alley in Los Angeles that has been wet in April. Like that's just not how it works in Los Angeles. But yes, nonetheless, it is sort of the classic shady alley with the lights reflecting on the pools of water and the asphalt.
Leonetti was having a ball, man. He was going to town with the cinematography.
Oh yeah, no, he was having a good time
because he gave it a good production design on the alley.
Yeah, for sure.
Gotta give credit where it's due.
There's a really bad music playing. Again, the score is just absolutely terrible in this movie.
It's the least memorable like score. I can't even picture a theme in my head. I'm gonna have a hard time picking out the music to put on the open and close of the podcast episodes.
Yeah, I know. Several cars pull in, and for the life of me, I thought it was just the same shot of the same car over and over again.
All those cars looked alike back then.
Really confused.
Boxy.
Oh, boxy. Because this was 90s, so this was still
and it was supposed to be set in the early 80s.
Oh, that's right. That's right. It was in 83 and we'll figure this out later.
Yeah.
But yes, that's right. So I guess those are appropriate cars.
Yeah, I'm sure they were period appropriate.
But I swear to God, Leonetti should have fixed this problem, though.
Yeah.
He should have used a different camera angle for the different cars because he shot the cars all coming in exactly the same way. Anyway, I'm just nitpicking now. But Mason Storm arrives. He is the most unstealthy like spy or clandestine guy ever. I mean, he just is stomping around.
He's just sort of strutting around. Like if you didn't know better, you'd think he's part of the meeting.
Right, exactly. Like he's just cashed. I was like, you guys didn't wait for me. I had to run here by myself. A limo finally pulls up. It's got dark tinted glass. We don't know who's in it. We cut back to Storm, and he's got this like. I thought it was a sniper rifle. I thought, whoa, motherfucker's gonna kill some bitches, and it turns out it's just like this massive camcorder, like 83 camcorder.
It was like he'd just come from Radio Shack or whatever. It's like the shit you would shoot your kid's birthday party on.
I know, but like
small cameras existed at this time.
Yeah. But it was almost practically like a studio television.
It was like he had to hold it on his shoulder.
It was massive. It could have been a sniper rifle for all I know. But he takes up position behind a couple of boxes and he points the camera down at them. And Storm then has and this movie is filled with just complete misses of one-liners.
Yeah.
Not a single one of the one-liners hits. And and this one is no exception because he says that he wants the bad guys to get the show on the road because he's missing the Oscars.
I'm missing the Oscars.
Which is just
I don't understand.
Insane to me because this movie in the first act references the Oscars so many
half a dozen times probably.
It's ridiculous.
It makes it's beyond bizarre.
Yeah, it is. Anyway,
there's no reason. It's never relevant.
Nope, it does not play into this movie at all. But I remember you looked it up because we know if it was 83 and it was the Oscars, we know exactly what day it was.
It was April 11th, 1983. Mm-hmm. I looked up. If you can find an old weather report from that day, it did not rain in Los Angeles on that day.
Not surprisingly,
you lying cocksuckers. Motherfucker.
Anyway, so a title card does in fact tell us that it is 1983 in Los Angeles. So the goons start doing goon stuff, and Storm is filming them. It's very dark. It's hard to see anything, but Storm recognizes every one of these goons except one dude who's hidden in darkness.
He won't stop talking either, Storm.
Oh, no, just constantly.
Calabrese. It's like, bro, your mic is picking up all this shit.
All of this shit. Like,
you're talking over the meeting.
I know, exactly. But also, he's just pointing a consumer camcorder at a meeting that's happening like 100 feet away from him. No. He doesn't have a parabolic microphone or anything like that. So I don't know what he's hoping to accomplish here. But yes, the mystery man is hiring Calabrese, the Calabrese family, to do a hit for him. And he says that the mob is going to be really well paid and it can do a lot more for him. And he says, when I get in that office and you can take that to the bank, which is a very important thing to remember.
Yes.
You're going to
hear that if you had
to the bank.
If you had a drinking game every time someone said you can take that to the bank in this movie,
you're going to be really hammered.
You're going to have a long night.
You're going to have a really long night. So the mystery man is asking him to kill a senator so he can take a seat, which... Okay, like, so this is a local politician, obviously, there. So, but anyway, the Calabrese boss advises the mystery guy to be patient because the senator's very, very public figure. He's in the news every day. It's like, when does that ever stop the mob?
The mafia guys were like borderline, like offensive caricatures of mafia guys.
I know, they were speaking like they were from the Bronx or something.
Patience. It was like Fat Tony or whatever. The robot mafia or some shit. And always with caution. Yeah, it's like, is it Joe Mantegna?
Yeah, it might have been Joe Mantegna. But so the mystery guy says, look, the next time he's in the paper, it better be the obituaries. Ooh. So Storm bemoans the fact that he can't see this guy hidden in the shadows.
He won't stop talking.
Just over and over again. And
just step out. I can't see you.
Right. We have to be clear here. He's not...
What the fuck?
Every line he's saying, he's whispering very dramatically. Because Steven Seagal is apparently incapable of speaking any line of dialogue. But so Mason he starts moving. He's trying to get a better camera angle, and his microphone's getting static, and he's like fucking around with it, trying to get it works. He trips over some boxes now.
Yeah. He's not good at this.
No, he's really bad at his job.
This is like making a loud clang, like banging on the microphone and everything like that.
So the mob goons, of course, hear this. Although I'm pretty disappointed in them that this is the first time they're hearing him, given that Mason can't shut the fuck up about anything. So the goons start walking over to Mason at this point, and the mystery man says that the mob guy needs to arrange for this senator's plane to crash. Which is like, that's not the mob thing.
That's pretty specific.
So specific.
I also like that just despite the fact that one of them feels like they heard something.
Yeah.
They're just continuing to discuss the murder plans.
Hold on. Let's just make sure we're fine. No. I'm sure it's fine.
Yeah, it's crazy, man.
So Storm continues to make louder and louder noises. And the mystery man then walks out into the light, but at this point, Storm's not filming anymore.
It's just like double boneheaded moves. Like, First of all, he's like, I heard something. Let me step out into the light.
Oh, my God.
And then, Storm, why are you not filming this?
Right. It's just like it's like, who is more stupid, right? It's a competition of stupid, incompetent people. The goon approaches, Storm ducks around a corner, and he pops out of nowhere, beats the guy up by, as always, pushing him down.
Yes.
I mean, how can the other goons not see that this is happening?
The way it was edited and blocked and staged, this would be happening right in front of the others.
Right. I mean, it's literally just an alley with
he
no
stepped out from a corner.
Yeah.
It didn't make sense.
No.
But this movie's full of some bizarre edits.
Oh, yeah. And we'll get to that why. But Calabrese says, hey, stop fucking around over there. Storm runs away.
It was like there was a loud punching sound and a yell, and he's like, quit fucking around over there.
Look, masturbate on your own time. Like, we don't got time for this. So Storm runs away, and then now it seems like the bad guys have figured out, someone's here.
It was a jump in action. Everyone's like, get that motherfucker. It's like, wait, now there's someone there? Because a second ago, you didn't seem to think anything was happening.
The mystery man flees to his limo, but if anybody was paying attention, we'd know who he is right now. Also, it's William Sadler, obviously.
Yeah.
Like, they make no effort to disguise who this is.
No, yeah, they're not trying to keep it a secret.
And so within seconds of the movie, this is like the classic thing, like, the audience should never know more than the main character, right? Like within seconds of this movie starting, the audience already knows more than the main character. Like, that is how off the rails this movie gets so quickly. Storm hops in his car. He drives away. The mystery man, even though he's in his limo, hasn't left yet. And he tells Calabrese he wants Storm dead within the hour, which I don't understand. Like, so they saw him now?
Do they know who it is? Yeah, that's going to be tough.
Right, exactly. So, I don't know. He says, I don't want him to get an hour older. Oh, he won't, Mr. Assemblyman. No kidding.
That's a fucking crazy thing.
What a weird...
Oh, he won't, Mr. Assemblyman. Why would you say that like that?
So
you may as well say, hey, don't worry, he won't, Assemblyman Trent. Like, dude, or my name isn't Fat Tony. My name isn't Tony Calabrese.
By the way, just as a reminder to everybody, we're less than 5 minutes into this movie.
We're not even drunk yet.
No. This is us just sober right now.
No kidding. He says a line that makes no sense.
Oh, my God. So now we go back to the police station. Mason Storm is still not there right now, but Storm's boss is watching the Oscars, which, like, okay.
And motherfucker was pumped.
He was
like for Ben Kingsley winning for Gandhi.
Yeah.
He was like fist. Yeah, you got it.
It was like someone scoring the touchdown, winning touchdown of a Super Bowl.
Big Ben Kingsley fan.
Clearly.
This guy, a big Gandhi fan.
Yeah, I know. Good for him, I guess. But he's the phone call comes in, and one of the other cops says, "Hey, Becker, Storm on 3." Which that went over my head. Like the first time we watched, I had this like, what the fuck he's talking about?
It comes back again in a minute.
It does come back in a minute. And I'm like, oh, that's the line that he's on.
That was the character of Quintero, played by Branscombe Richmond, who's a goon in Commando, and he was a goon in Action Jackson.
Oh.
He was the it's hot dog time.
Oh, that was him. Oh shit,
he was
awesome.
in Kindergarten Cop playing a goon. He's just like he's
career of goons.
Career goon. Yeah.
So Storm on the phone, Storm tells him that he's got some secret info for him. And
don't you think if it was they're planning to kill the senator, you would just tell him that right away? Like, there's not a moment to, I'll tell you more later.
Yeah. It's just like,
we got him.
We needed all points bulletin out on Calabrese.
Put the senator on lockdown.
Yeah, I've got a video. Just bring him in. I've got the evidence. Don't wait. Don't worry about it.
No, none of that.
There's none of that. And it was like, no, I'll tell you later. Don't worry about it. So, unfortunately for Storm and his boss, they've got two shady fucking cops listening in on the phone call.
That's the one thing we're going to learn in this movie is that there's only like 3 or 4 good cops in the entire city of Los Angeles.
Entire city of Los Angeles. Which, I mean, okay. That's not unreasonable. So
this is a pre-Rodney King world, too.
So Storm does say that he's got Calabrese and a guy named Valero on camera planning a murder, but he doesn't go into any more details about that.
Like, come on, dude. You got to tell him a little more.
I know. Well, I mean, like,
it's not just a run-of-the-mill murder.
At this point, he's got evidence. He should just go and put a bolo
pick up
out for
Calabrese
him.
in them right now.
Right, go pick him up right now.
Yeah.
Like, you have everything that you need. You don't need
They'll
a warrant.
They'll probably roll over on the assemblyman.
Right, with the assemblyman, yeah. So anyway, Storm mentions that there's this other guy there, and they think that they'll be able to make a move on him once they actually get to see the video. Like, Storm couldn't see it from the distance, but this magical camera, apparently, you will be able to.
And he made another Oscars reference. He said, we got our own little Academy Award film right here. It's like, fucking shit.
Like, that's,
but why?
I don't know.
Why the obsession with it? Like,
This is reference number 3 in the first 5 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, we're not even halfway done, I don't think, with the Oscars references.
No, we're not even halfway done with the Oscar references. So Storm reiterates that it's important that nobody knows about this but them. Unfortunately for them, Quintero and Axel, the 2 bad cops, are listening in on everything.
Axel, I like the character of Axel. He's rocking the bolo tie.
Yeah, right. That's right.
He becomes a larger and larger character as the movie goes along.
So Storm, he on his way home, I guess, stops at a liquor store, which, okay, I guess. I mean, that's fine.
There was this movie was full of bizarre Foley choices.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't you notice?
Oh, yeah.
This was the first one that jumped out at me. It was like when he's coming in the liquor store, he holds the door open for a woman, and in a voice that's very clearly like a man doing a woman's voice, says, "Hey, thanks." And I was like, but you didn't need to have any.
What a
you didn't
weird
need that.
ADR.
Hey, thanks.
Yeah.
It's like, why?
I missed that one. So good.
The
catch
Foley
on
artist
that
on the
one.
movie was drunk.
So Storm asks the shop owner if he has any champagne, and this fucking like just hates his life guy gives him some smart ass answer before he points Storm towards like the city, like what is obviously the worst champagne, because this is a dirt liquor store. This is not a high end place.
But
right?
I don't understand why he would act like asking for champagne in a liquor store is like such a strange request.
Right.
He's like, oh yeah, we keep it over there next to the caviar.
Right? Yeah, that's right. That is what the line is. Yeah.
What do you do? Like, it's reasonable to assume you at least carry a couple of bottles of champagne.
At the very least, prosecco. Right?
Yeah, you got something bubbly
very
in
least,
there.
right? I know it's so weird. It was almost like Storm came in and asked, was like, "Hey, where are your wicker chairs?"
Yes.
Anyway, so Storm demands to know why the shop owner isn't watching the Oscars. So here we go.
Yeah.
Reference number 4, and the guy says, "Oh, I hate the Oscars. Who needs the goddamn movies anyways?" You know, it's just like
it seemed like a weirdly like self-aware line or something.
right, exactly.
You lived in LA. Does the city love the Oscars?
No. Locals fucking hate the Oscars.
Okay.
Everybody who lives in LA fucking hates
Okay.
the Oscars. They just wait for it. Everybody just, it's sort of like in it here, how everybody just sort of retreated to their homes for 2 days while we waited for the snow to melt. Locals just hide in their homes waiting for the show to be over so they can go back to their normal lives.
Well, the movie's obsessed with the Oscars.
Oh, yeah.
At least,
Well, at least for the first act.
it sets the expectation that like something is going to happen at the Oscars that's relevant.
Right, exactly.
Or something, you know what I mean? Like the senator got killed at the Oscars.
At the Oscars,
Like then you'd be
right.
like, oh, it makes sense. They kept mentioning that it's Oscars night, but no, there's
Nope.
never any sort of payoff.
Nope, not at all. So Storm grabs his bottle of shitty champagne as well as a stuffed monkey.
Yeah.
Like he's the liquor store guy is like making jabs of like, oh, you think we sell champagne here? But he does sell the stuffed monkeys,
animals,
which is very bizarre. So the shop owner, like, he doesn't care about the Oscars because he gets a show in the store every night. Horror, sex, freaks, violence. He's pointing to all of his different security cameras.
It kind of sounds like a perfect movie to me.
I mean, like, look, if we're being honest.
For this podcast. Horror, sex, freaks, and violence.
And
yes.
Of course, like, ending with violence is the right call because on cue, a bunch of punks walk into the shop because that has to happen. We need Mason Storm to do something.
Time for a hero move.
That's right. So Storm tells the guy he should call 911. But before the clerk can pick up the phone, the leader produces a double-barrel shotgun and tells him he better not do that. Now, in my experience, well, not my experience, but like famously, people who are robbing a liquor store usually just bring a pistol because a sawed-off shotgun is such it's a really inconvenient weapon.
Well, double barrel is really inconvenient because you
only
got
have
two shots and then you got to reload.
Right, exactly. So it's just like it's so dumb.
Yeah.
And clearly the prop master was just looking for something that looked threatening and violent rather than like realistic. But anyway, so the points the shotgun at the clerk. The clerk it says better not do that, and the clerk obviously doesn't call the cops. This guy seems like this is like they do this on a regular basis
because they seem to like know the guy. Hey, remember me?
Yeah. So this is just a Wednesday night for them, and they tell the shop owner to empty the register. And the shop owner asks Storm, like, why is there never a cop around when you need one? Which it wasn't clear to me.
Yeah, we talked about this.
Yeah, like
does he know Storm is a cop?
Or is this just like a weird, like, ironic statement, right?
Yeah. This whole scene would have played better if it was like Storm and the shop owner knew like this was his neighborhood shop.
Yeah, right, exactly.
You know,
and
he's like, hey, Storm, you know, the champagne, you know, then he's like breaking balls makes a little bit of sense.
Right, exactly. So it doesn't matter. The shop owner's about to exit this film because, like, in the dumbest move ever, with a guy at lethal range with a sawed-off shotgun, the clerk grabs a baseball bat and says he ought to beat the shotgun-wielding punk out. You know,
that's not smart. Down. That's not smart.
And of course, the fucking like criminal shoots him, and then laughs maniacally when the shop owner is dead. And you're like, well, yeah, what did you think was gonna fucking happen? So he then turns the gun on Storm, and the other punks start egging on the shotgun wielder to kill Storm. And
there's no reason not to.
No.
At this point, like you've killed one guy, you may as well not leave a witness.
Double murder, single murder, you're going to jail for a while if you get caught. So Storm, though, because he's a badass, walks right up to the shotgun and it's just right under his chin.
Uh-huh.
And then he chuckles and says, you only have 4 guys and only 1 shot left in the gun.
So stupid.
He's
got the swagger of a man who knows he can't be killed.
Right.
Who knows he's the hero of a movie.
Yeah, this is a whole other aside, but like I encourage everybody to go read Seagal's Wikipedia page. It was clearly written by one of his PR people.
Yes.
Because it is the most glowing, like effervescent article you could possibly imagine about this mediocre C-list celebrity that is irrelevant today.
There was some dumb shit in there about, like, unlike other action heroes, he often plays heroes that are indestructible and impossible to kill.
Yep.
And it's like, I feel like that's, you just summed up every Schwarzenegger and Stallone movie.
Right, exactly. And I'm like, no, this isn't unique. This is all action
Willis
heroes
is the
of
unique
80s.
one because, like, John McClane would get hurt.
Right,
And the other guys never got hurt.
No.
They're like just shrugging off, like, bullets and stuff.
Right, exactly. So anyway, highly recommend people read the Wikipedia page if you're looking for something funny to read. So Storm swats the barrel of the gun away right before he attacks and it goes off. He yanks the shotgun away.
It's like the first of a dozen times in this movie that he just swats a deadly weapon aside. Like, it's, if you were playing a drinking game about, like, swatting weapons aside,
Yeah.
I'm going to keep a tally as we go, because every time it's just like, a guy comes at him with a knife and he just sort of, like, backhands it away. It's like, that
It's not
wouldn't
how this
work.
works.
He's only got one move. It's just,
Right.
you just swat the weapon away.
Yeah, swat the weapon away and push the bad guy down.
Maybe
That's
break his
entire-
arm or something, you know? Shove him into a grill.
There is so much property destruction in this movie. Like another drinking game. Like if you took a shot every time Seagal threw a bad guy into private property, you'd be very drunk by the end of this movie. Storm yanks the shotgun away from the punk and then begins wailing on the others with his Aikido, which again in this movie is mostly just him pushing them down.
I mean, this won't be the last time I say it, I'm sure, on this series, but whenever you watch Seagal fight, it's just like, this shit would only work if the other guy's cooperating with you.
Right.
Like, because, you know, he's just like, I grabbed you by the wrist and then you did a full front flip.
Yeah.
And it's like, I mean, a person who knows what they're doing could maybe do this shit, but like, if I'm holding a gun and you grab the barrel of the gun and twist, I'm not going to do a front flip. I would let go of the gun first.
Right, exactly.
Before I did a flip.
Right, exactly.
Like, it's just madness.
This is a death grip. So he's flipping dudes and like throwing them, pushing them down to the ground, doing a bunch of property damage. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, not that it matters because the
Yeah,
punk
the
is
shop
dead,
owner's long gone.
But whatever. So after he finishes off 3 of the punks, there's one single punk left, and he's got a knife.
And he's holding it very strangely, like
Right.
not like a man would hold a knife, but like he's sort of like gripping like you'd hold a chopsticks.
Chopsticks. It's like prepping to eat him. So Storm tells the last punk, is like, come on, come and kill me. And he tosses the shotgun aside.
He's like, oh, mine's bigger than yours. That's not fair.
Right, exactly. So I'll throw, even though it's not loaded.
Yeah.
At this point, I guess you could
It's just a
bludgeon
club,
him.
yeah.
Right. It's just like, but it's not threatening otherwise. And he goes, look, I'll show you what it's like to be a victim. Right? Just like the shopkeeper.
This is not the way a cop is supposed to act.
No, not at all.
This is like vigilante
This
shit.
is straight up vigilante shit.
It's almost like he stood by, because he didn't do shit until after he killed the shop owner.
Right.
Then he's like, it's almost like he let him kill him without lifting a finger just so he could have an excuse to kick some ass.
Right. I mean, a sociopath in the movies is a sociopath in the real life. So he gets down on his knees and just continues to taunt this last goon. And the guy finally charges at him, but he takes him down and then just, at this point, he's been subdued.
Yeah.
And just breaks this guy's leg for shits and giggles. I don't know.
Yeah, it's not self-defense. It is
Right.
not protecting
No.
the public.
And it's just absolutely in cold blood that he does this.
He's
right?
like, he's baited this guy into attacking him
Right.
after letting him kill someone without trying to stop it.
Unbelievable, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, so the police are all over the scene, and Storm is in high spirits because, you know, he's getting praised by the other cops.
One of the guys was,
and-
looks like you won the Oscar
Oh,
tonight.
my
So
God.
it's like, Jesus Christ.
Fucking hell, man. They fit a lot of Oscar references in early in this movie. So anyway, despite the fact that he almost certainly needs to be questioned, needs to be debriefed, there's so much paperwork involved, he literally just
He beat a bunch of dudes and witnessed a
witnessed
murder.
a murder. Like, he's not going home that night unless you're Mason Storm. He grabs the champagne, the stuffed monkey, and he goes home. He's done.
There's no chance he paid for that shit.
No, not a chance. No, he just
Maybe he
took
let
it.
the guy get killed. So he's like,
didn't want to
oh,
buy
I
the
see a way
champagne."
to avoid paying for this champagne and monkey. That would have been funny if he was walking out with cases of like the good
Oh
stuff.
my God. He just starts looting the liquor store.
Cases of Dom Perignon from the back.
He's like the one thug with the broken leg who's in the ambulance. He like tosses him a 20. Hey, thanks for doing that. Like they were in cahoots the whole time. So Storm is now in his car driving home, and he's got the easiest listening to music going on.
It was like yacht rock shit.
Straight up yacht rock.
The song was called "Feels So Good" by Chuck Mangione,
Oh, Chuck Mangione,
which was a big
okay.
hit in 1978. So it was like it's not current music in '83.
No, this is 5 years out of date. Yeah. So so he stops listening to that and pops in a standard cassette tape
Yes.
with the audio recording of the video that he captured.
Somehow it's recording videotape, but the audio is going to a different format,
Right.
or something. It is also queued up in the middle of the conversation already.
Right,
somehow.
exactly. So I don't. It's just like the screenwriting is so lazy
Yeah.
that it's just you can't. It's impossible to find, because we like to try to steelman this and explain
Yes.
how this would happen and like give the movie an excuse. There is no excuse for this.
It
None
just doesn't.
whatsoever.
Yeah, it just
Yeah.
doesn't work.
So anyway, on the tape we hear, and you can take that to the bank again. Right. So keep that in mind. And Storm says, for the 30th time already, I know that voice, but he can't quite place it. So Storm gets home, grabs that massive camcorder, and then he puts the cassette in his coat pocket, his vest pocket.
Yeah. Right.
And he enters the house, and he wakes up his wife as he's rummaging through the refrigerator. That's what it looks like, at least.
Well, so I went back and watched it like 3 times because I was
Okay.
trying to understand. He's pulling champagne glasses out of the refrigerator.
Okay.
Which I don't think
You don't chill
I don't think you
champagne
chill
glasses.
champagne glasses.
Not as far
so
as
it
I'm
doesn't
aware.
make sense.
Right.
Also, he's fucking creepy as shit because the wife's like, "Is that you in the flesh?"
In the flesh.
What?
Yeah.
No one says that
No.
except for sociopaths.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's relevant that he's got the camcorder and he's in the refrigerator.
Yeah. Then he
and-
goes to the other, like in the pantry or some shit.
Right.
That's-
So the geography here is a little bit wonky, and that's important later on in the movie.
Yeah. It's also he's all happening in the darkness, so you can't really
it's
see.
it's unclear what's going on. So his wife asks what he's doing, and says, "Hey, you need to get yourself upstairs."
She's ready to put it on
She
him.
is so ready. She has a police radio, and she heard the story about him murdering or allowing a clerk to be murdered and beating up a bunch of guys, and it got her in the mood. So he says he's raiding the icebox, but we see him stashing the camcorder in the pantry, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know. Anyway, the geography to me was really
Yeah, we
weird.
know the camcorder must be relevant later.
Right. But it's hidden somewhere.
It's hidden
right?
in the house.
It's hidden in the house. So he heads upstairs with the champagne, and he's all sexy and he's sultry and whispering all of his lines of dialogue, and she's definitely in the mood, although I don't see why. She tells him like it's gonna happen, but they got to be quiet. But their son is asleep.
She said, "I bribed him to go to bed with 6 cookies and a glass of orange juice."
Oh, that's
the
gross.
fuck! That's a terrible combo.
That's a horrible.
Plus, if you're trying to
combo.
get a kid to go to sleep, it's not like have a bunch of sugar
Yeah. Right, exactly. Sugar.
and then orange. Wash those cookies down with some orange
Oh
juice.
God, like
The
so
fuck?
acid tasting. I mean, I don't know. It was anyway. They're watching him sleep from the doorway, but the kid wakes up and asks if the stuffed monkey is for him,
Yeah.
and he's like, "Yeah, it is." And they have this they do the entire Lord's Prayer together.
All right. Is that like now I
As,
lay
like,
me down to sleep shit?
Yeah.
Which is a morbid ass prayer if you think about it.
Yeah, because it's just like I'm probably gonna die tonight, so you can have my soul, God. I'm just giving it to you right now.
They also have a weird interaction just about praying and the nature of prayer.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Don't pray for things you want. Pray for good things for other people."
Yeah.
Like Uncle O'Malley. And it's like there's no way you don't call us. There's no way you're calling somebody else Uncle O'Malley.
No.
Uncle and then your last name.
I mean, we
That's
don't even
bizarre
know that
shit.
O'Malley.
We haven't met O'Malley
We
yet.
haven't even met O'Malley. right?
But you got to pray for Uncle O'Malley. That cracked me up.
So is this? Have at this point? Is this where the intense red light shows up? Like, has the intense red light already happened?
When they flicked those lights out in the stairwell, it was like the heat lamp at Burger King or whatever.
It was like they had a dark room developing film next to the kid's bedroom.
Maybe that's where he takes the films from the surveillance films.
It was so weird.
It was.
It was almost like a horror movie.
It was a lighting choice.
Yeah. So apparently their kink is Johnny Carson, because once they're done with the kid, they cut to their bedroom.
Isn't that weird? It's weird to even turn the TV on at all.
Right, exactly.
But we got to put on Johnny Carson of all things.
There
were only probably like a few channels back then.
Right. And some ladies like to have the TV on for some reason, but why Johnny Carson?
Yeah, I like to, when I'm getting pounded, I like to hear the voice of Johnny Carson.
That's right.
The great Karnak or whatever.
Anyway, she notices the blood on his shirt, and he says, "Don't worry, it's somebody else's blood." Or I don't remember the exact line of dialogue.
Is that supposed to put her mind at ease?
I don't know what's going on, but she seems completely unworried by the fact that he's got blood on his shirt, and he says it's not my blood. Right? It's she says ultimately, like, if people knew how sweet you were, they'd never be scared of you, because I'm not scared of you. And he goes, "Maybe you should be." And I'm like, what the fuck is going on here?
That's not what a woman wants to hear.
No, that's so weird.
You just can't help but come off weird.
Anyway, they start fucking, and Seagal has his hands all over her tits, which is great because, like, there's no nudity as a result.
Yeah.
But this isn't the first time he gets handsy with a female character.
Not at all.
Goes right, just grabbing onto the boobs like they're rock climbing handles.
He's like wrenching
really
them.
holding on tight to those things.
Just destroying them.
Anyway, while they're fucking upstairs to the dulcet tones of Johnny Carson, we cut downstairs, and like these hooded gunmen come in. One of them has a shotgun with a laser sight on it.
Yeah, why
which
not?
is the most unnecessary accessory for a shotgun. Anyway, so Storm and his wife are upstairs. They're still getting it on.
Now, I have a theory that they needed to have the TV on to explain why Storm doesn't hear these guys coming.
All right, so you're steel manning a little bit. I can get behind it.
Maybe.
Look, I'm just saying, like, maybe her fantasy is Mason is being cucked by Johnny Carson, right? And
or Ed McMahon.
Or Ed McMahon, potentially. Yeah. Yes. Right? We don't know. Like, maybe that's her kink, right? So that's why it's on. In fact, maybe that wasn't even...
Maybe Tom Selleck was going to be the guest, and like that gets her motor running or something.
You're right, and it's a specific episode because he's talking about the Oscars. He's doing his monologue, talking about how the Oscars are still going on, and I can, like, do something else in less time that it takes the Oscars to be on. And so even Johnny Carson is talking about the Oscars in the movie at this point. So anyway, Mason is really going to town on his wife's boobies. I mean, he's a tit man. There's no question
He's
about
sucking
it.
on the titties.
Good for him, man. Good for him.
The Foley work was insane, like the kissing noises.
Oh my God, it was so gross. It was like, what... Did you wet your lips before? I mean, I don't understand how you were making these noises.
Seagal has a bad reputation. Like, we have to address that. I feel like that he's been accused by a lot of co-stars of like being in the casting process and whatever, like trying to get girls on the casting couch, and say, well, we got to see if we have chemistry off camera.
I believe
and all this shit. I know the star from Under Siege said like he just kept pushing that they should have a sex scene in the movie, and the producers and everyone, I think, was like, that doesn't really make any sense that you guys would fuck in the middle of a terrorist attack.
This whole movie takes place over the span of about 4 hours.
There's no downtime to like, we should fuck real quick.
Right.
But like that he kept just kind of groping her at every chance he got and stuff. It's just
so gross.
It's creepy as fuck.
Anyway, one of the goons now decides to put on a rubber glove as opposed to like prepping before this.
He like snapped it real loud.
Right.
Like, he's like, I'm ready. It's like, the fuck?
Storm seems to hear this though, and he shoves his wife out of the way and he rolls out of the bed, and then the bad guys burst into the room. They fire shotguns, they miss. Storm grabs his pistol from the nightstand and he immediately kills one of the goons.
He keeps it locked and loaded on the nightstand.
Always. It's just armed, just ready to go. However, the other goons hit him with multiple shotgun blasts right to the chest. Like, just dead instantly to the chest, right? There's no surviving this.
Yes.
This isn't a flesh wound, right?
No.
At nearly point-blank range.
Yeah, they're like 10 feet away.
Right. So even if they were just using, like, you know, shotgun
Right, bird
spreads
shot
instead of a
or-
slug,
yeah.
right? Yeah, exactly. But this just enrages Storm,
Yeah, it only makes him madder.
which goes back to, you know, he's invincible and bad guys can't stop him. So he charges at one of the goons, yanks the shotgun away from him, breaks his wrist, another unnecessary, like he loves breaking limbs and bones.
Yeah.
Just really, really happy with doing that. Kicks the guy in the chest. Then another one of the gunmen, he hits Storms with more shotgun blasts. And as he's like fallen to the ground, he looks over and the bad guys like point their guns at his wife and just murder the shit out of
Sort
her.
of the editing was weird in this moment. The continuity was all
Yeah,
off.
it
Like
was all
he kept
off.
moving to different parts of the room.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell if it was cut down just to make it shorter or cut down. Like sometimes the MPAA is like,
Yeah.
you got to tone
Too
down the
violent,
violence or something.
yeah.
Like, yeah, I don't know.
Anyway, yeah, but the editing was all over the place.
But he got shot like 4 to 5 times,
Dude.
right? With shotguns.
So dead. The man should be dead or in dead, right?
It's like Murphy and RoboCop. It was like, you know, it was crazy.
Straight up. I can't believe one of his arms didn't fall off. Anyway, so Storm screams and the bad guys shoot him again and he falls to the ground.
Like, why would they not make sure he's dead? Why would
Yeah.
they not come up and shoot him in the face?
Yep.
I don't know.
I don't know. It was, I don't know. It's hard to kill, man. He's hard to kill.
He's
What
hard
can
to
I say?
kill.
What can I say? So now we cut to Storm's boss, who we've seen one time to this point.
Right.
And it's not really even clear like what the relationship is, aside from that they've got some super secret information, right? So because Storm has called him and said, "Hey, I've got some secret information, but first I'm going to go drink champagne and fuck my wife." We can deal with this later. It's not a big deal. We can deal with this later.
The threat to the senator's life, we'll talk about that tomorrow.
Yeah, don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. His boss is also watching the same Johnny Carson show,
Yeah.
where he is talking about the Oscars, and he's having a midnight snack while this is happening.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for him, he's not looking out his window, and 2 guys show up with ski masks, and he goes, "Hey, Becker, Storm on 3," and then they shoot him dead through the window. And I had to have you pause it because I'm like, I don't get
Yeah.
it. Because it was such a throwaway line earlier in the movie
Yeah.
that I had completely forgotten about it.
It's wild shit to say.
No, it's such
because
a
it's
weird.
like, I want you to know that I'm your coworker.
Right, exactly.
Like, why would that be a thing? Why would you be happy, like, doing this with, like, glee?
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
like,
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man. But
And if you're doing drinking, the drinking game where you drink every bad one-liner, well, take a drink because like this is, it's just another horrible one.
I guess it's our first inkling that it's like dirty cops are the ones who are doing this shit.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess that was.
I guess.
But again, lazy writing. That's all this was, is lazy writing. So now we cut back to Storm's house, and Storm is presumably dead, draped over his dead wife as well. The kid has, I guess, finally heard all of this going on.
I love that he's like drawn to the sounds of
And his
screaming and
instinct is like,
gunfire.
I hear gunfire and screaming. I should go to this.
What's that? Is everything okay in there?
so he while he's walking into the room and he sees all these masked goons like basically dressing his room with cocaine and drugs everywhere.
Right, they're like staging the crime scene.
Yeah, staging the crime scene. Yeah.
I guess the idea is they want to make it look like he's mixed up in some dirty shit.
I guess so. I mean, like, sure, that feels like overkill to me, but whatever. So they're
Just
not
burn the house down and call it a night.
right,
you know?
exactly, right, exactly. Like, be done with it, But they're using each other's names, which
Yes,
is
over
like,
and over again.
which is like, okay, I guess they're all dead, so we don't have to be.
Quintero, come on. Well, but like, maybe the idea is that they need to use each other's names so that they have a reason to want to kill the kid.
Yeah, I guess
Because
so.
if the kid heard the name, then maybe we got to kill him. But if otherwise, there's no real reason to kill this child.
Yeah. But I mean, like an 8-year-old is gonna be so fucking traumatized. But whatever, might as well kill him. Like you've already
Sure.
killed Storm and the wife. Just whatever, loose ends and all that. But yeah, I think what it really is just like it's more of like, oh, these are dirty cops, right?
Sure.
I think that's what it really is. And again, it's just lazy writing. So the kid shows up finally at the doorway. They see him. Oh, shit. They start shooting at him. He runs away. They give chase behind him. He jumps out of his window in his bedroom. They shoot at him some more, and then that's it. We don't see the kid after that. Like that's gone. Like we didn't see him die.
We didn't see him die. Yeah.
So I guess he's fine. Anyway, we don't know. The goons flee back to their van, take off their masks, and reveal what we've already know at this point.
Yeah.
That it's the dirty cops from earlier on, right?
Yes.
So it's like this scene would have worked way better if they hadn't.
If that had been the reveal.
Names, but that was the reveal, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, so they have zero remorse for killing the cop and his whole family, and they just end this moment by saying, "Another dead asshole."
That's some crazy shit.
Okay,
So,
all right.
I think it's one thing to be a dirty cop,
Right.
Is another thing to be willing to kill another clean cop on the orders of your taskmaster. But then it's a whole other thing to take pleasure in killing other clean cops. Like they were getting off on it.
Oh no, they absolutely were. Absolutely.
That's wild.
Dude, and there's something I forgot. Like when they were staging the crime scene before, they were just taking bags out of their pockets and putting them in their drawers. There's no fingerprints. There's no DNA evidence that any of this actually belonged to Storm.
That's true. Yeah, it's just like whatever.
Whatever. We don't care. We actually don't give a shit. We were just happy to kill him.
Yeah. They must hate Mason Storm. Maybe I can't blame them for hating Mason Storm.
No, we all hate Mason Storm. Yeah, he's an absolute asshole.
You know,
like honest cop or not, he's an absolute asshole. Anyway, so we'll leave it there. On another dead asshole. We're deep into the movie. We're almost 20 minutes in. The Oscar references, I think, finally have come to an end at this point.
Done, no more.
But if you're pretty hammered at this point if you were taking a drink for every Oscar reference.
Yes. So thanks for listening. Come back next week. We'll have a whole new drinking game to get started.
There's so many in this movie.
I'm sure. And until then,
we'll be back.